hosts, Brianna Salvati. Doobie-doobie-doo. 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 I'm your host, Brianna Salvati. Doobie-doobie-doo. Hey, guys. Happy Friday. Doobie-doobie-doo. We made it to the weekend. We are finally here. I'm super excited. For those of you who are new, my Friday streams are a little bit more laid back. I usually have a beverage with me. It's usually been a long week. Tonight, I have Victory Easy Ringer Low Cal IPA. It's 4.3% ABV. So, yeah. One of the victory things. What is going on? I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. What's going on, Ashura? Tonight is versus, but I see Jim Crow Joe is the only winner since he's related to all. Woof. We're going to get into that tonight. That town hall was really, What's going on, Hannah? That Biden town hall was awful. Absolutely. What's going on, Holly? It was really bad. Hello, Sweet Drifter, Holly Watch People's Forum, NYC. It's about Assange. Oh, yeah, there's something I got to tell you guys about that later on tonight. Don't let me forget. Something that's happening on Tuesday. What's going on, Greg? No, how to start the revolution with one truth. Tell people that the federal government throws away their federal taxes and turns around and asks how we're going to pay for that. Truth, MMT. Thanks so much, Greg. What's going on, Greg? Different Greg. He says, hi, all. He's a Sabby member. What's going on, Lawrence? Always a pleasure to see you. He says, Sabby, hiya. Infamous, what's going on? Hello, greetings. Shout out to Delthea Simmons. She says, hello, everybody. She's also a Sabby member. Hello, Shayar. Good evening to all Sabby misfits, TGIF. Yes, it's Friday. Shout out to Java the Cat. I was about to say Java the Hutt. Java the Cat, who is also Sabby's member. Happy Friday, Sabby. Happy Friday. We're about to do the thing. What's going on, Eric Thomas, who's also a Sabby member? Hello, Friday, friends. Hi, Troy C. That's kid stuff, Sabby. Oh, my beer? Oh, because it's only 4.3%. Yeah, I don't like strong beers. I do not. I don't. My husband does, though. And he does this thing where, like, he'll go get beer and he won't look at the ABV. I don't know. That's his thing. What's going on, Roxanne? She says, yo, hello, pirate. Alex, what's going on? Hi, Noli D. She says, I made it. Greetings, Ilhanner. Holly Horn, you're getting a lot of shout outs in the chat tonight. What's going on, Phenomenal Mysticism? Hi, Sabby. I sometimes think your name sounds like the word savvy, but you're savvy. Oh, I like that. That's pretty cool. Thanks so much, Phenomenal Mysticism. What's going on, Where Pilgrim? How are you? Always a pleasure to see you as well. Shout out to Tony Plow. Hey, Sabby. Hey, everyone. Thanks so much, Noli D, for the super sticker. Always appreciated. Greetings, Henry Wilkins. Howdy, Sabby from Pie Town. Oh, cool. All right. What's going on, Lee? What's going on, Sabby? Nice to see you here as well. All right, guys, if you are new to Sabby Sabs podcast, I want to let you know that I'm a part of the Fred Hampton Leftist Network. You can catch me there on Thursdays for the Roundtable and Friday for the Sabby Sabs show. In fact, I was just there. We did a Gen Z panel tonight. So I've been doing a generational series over there the past couple of weeks. It's been pretty interesting. I'm learning a lot from different generations. So it has been a learning experience. I still have, I think next Friday, I'm doing the boomer generation panel. So that one should be interesting as well. Yeah, excited for that one. So what is going on in the news? Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? Let me go ahead and share my screen to show you what we're going to be talking about tonight. Here we go. All right. Briahna Joy Gray versus Ritchie Torres. Yeah, so that happened. I believe this may have started last night and went into this morning. I got a lot to say about that. You guys are just gonna like, wow. I have a lot to show you about Ritchie Torres. I'm just gonna say that. Candace Owens, anti-cop. What did Candace Owens say now? And of course, Biden town hall. Oof, that was brutal. That was brutal last night. Very, very don't watch. If you haven't seen it, don't waste your time. I'm going to talk about it tonight and show you some clips. If you have seen it, I'm sorry. That's how I felt. I was just like, what am I watching right now? What's going on, Andrew? Nice to see you. Eric Thomas said, pity the fool who takes on BJG. Oh my gosh, this was brutal. This was brutal. And Tony says, Bree is still a real one. Exactly. Turncoat Dan, who is Ritchie Torres? I'm going to show you guys. Good question. Who is Ritchie Torres? So the first thing I'm going to show you before I get into the feud that's going on, there was an article by the New York Times. Oh, these punks are making me log in. Hold on. You punks. You punks. Hold on. They always trying to get money out of people, man. All right, back to where I was. So the New York Times, dude, hold on, guys. I should be able to sign in, you punks. Start your free trial. Really, guys? Hold on one second, guys, because you really need to see this article. Give me just a second. All right. I'm going to connect it with PayPal so I can show you guys this article, and then I'm going to let these punks go. Because basically, long story short, New York Times, they wrote a piece about Ritchie Torres. And it's really interesting to me. I found this article to be very cringe. And see if it lets me open it now. Okay. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. So, first of all, the headline of this article just drove me crazy. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. This is what they titled this. Look at this. New York superstar progressive isn't AOC. That's not the worst part. Again, I told you they're calling him a superstar progressive. They need to stop making politicians celebrities. That's the first problem I have. Now, this article came out September 21st, 2021, just last month. So this is the problem that I have with this article. So here we go. Ritchie Torres is a congressman from America's poorest district, New York's 15th in the Bronx. Quietly bristles at the AOC comparison. There's a sense in which the media narrative diminishes me. I resist the temptation to fit into a preconceived narrative. My career in politics long predates the squad. Okay, let's go down to this part. They just tripped me out in this article. All right, this is what I don't like. On the identity and background scorecard, he checks every progressive box. Wait for it. Wait for it. Afro-Latino, the son of a single mom who raised 3 children working as a mechanic's assistant on a minimum wage salary of $4.25 an hour. That was a long sentence. A product of public housing and public schools. A half brother of 2 former prison inmates. An NYU dropout. The Bronx first openly gay elected official. Guys, does anybody else notice when they talk about him checking off progressive boxes, they're using identity politics? Where are the issues? Where are the policies? So this is what it means to be a progressive? Look at this again. On the identity background scorecard, he checks every progressive box. And they go into all this identity politics BS. So this article is cringeworthy to me. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. They go on to say he's dazzlingly smart. What the hell is dazzlingly smart? Like, they're just putting in filler words here. I see why people have problems with the New York Times. But yeah, they basically go on. I'm not going to read the whole article, but they go on to praise him and prop him up to be like a celebrity. The same thing they did with AOC. This is a big problem that I have in politics today. Politicians are not celebrities. Politicians should not be treated like celebrities. They should not be idolized. And here they are. And not only are they idolizing him, are they propping him up like a celebrity, but they are also pointing out, hey, he's Afro-Latino. He grew up poor. He had a single mom. He checks every progressive box. Oh my God. I can't, you guys. I can't. You see the problem? You see the problem? Okay. That's a little bit about Ritchie Torres. But this happened recently with Ritchie Torres, and it's downright disgusting. So recently he was asked about Joe Biden's performance as a president. You got to hear this. Hold on to your seat. Don't get mad at me. I'm just the messenger. Listen to this.
But in the meantime, I want to bring in Congressman Ritchie Torres, another Democrat from New York and a member of the Progressive Caucus. You were in this meeting with President Biden yesterday, the meeting with progressives. We've obviously been talking about this more optimistic tone from party leaders about the state of negotiations here. How would you characterize the attitude of your fellow progressives about these negotiations and how close you might be to getting something like a deal?
Well, the Progressive Caucus is enormously grateful to President Biden, who's emerged as the most progressive president in the history of the United States. He's a man on a mission. He's intent on passing not one, but two of the largest infrastructure investments in American history. And the purpose of the meeting was to impress upon members of Congress a sense of urgency around landing these planes as swiftly and as smoothly as we can.
Congressman, every progressive member that I've spoken to over the last couple of weeks has told me how frustrated they are, that they didn't really know who you were or what you were negotiating against. You didn't really know what Kyrsten Sinema or Joe Manchin wanted in this bill, if anything. After this meeting with the White House, after the discussions that have gone on this week, are you confident that you know what the folks you're negotiating on the other side of the table actually want?
Yes and no. I mean, we have much greater clarity from Senator Manchin about where he stands, less so from Senator Sinema. You know, for me, the two most important values in a negotiation are clarity and communication. And if you refuse to tell us where you stand, then how can we possibly negotiate with you? How can we possibly trust that you're negotiating in good faith? So I would certainly welcome more clarity from Senator Sinema.
Did anyone in your group?
I can only listen to him for so long because it's utter BS. Did you guys actually hear him say that Joe Biden is the most progressive president in history? He just said he's the most progressive president in history. So that's a little bit of background I wanted to give you about Ritchie Torres. So that way you understand why this conversation escalated the way it did on Twitter. And now I'm going to take you to those tweets. I want to give a shout out to Christina for the super chat. The progressives are just tokens for the establishment when they could be true trailblazers. Love your show. XO. Thanks so much, Christina. Thanks so much for the super chat. Lawrence, Progressive caucus is a social club. That's another thing. Guys, don't be swayed by that. Just because they tell you that a politician is a part of the progressive caucus, that doesn't really mean anything. Like, this is what I was saying. Like, the word progressive doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't hold any weight. That's why I stopped saying I was a progressive. Jim Clyburn says he's progressive. Like, come on. It's just, it's ridiculous. Joe Kennedy here in Massachusetts is also a part of the progressive caucus. He's not progressive. Ask anybody here in Massachusetts. It doesn't mean much. Ashura said, I'm surprised Richie didn't throw the angry black woman and anti-gay cards at Briahna. Let's hope that does not happen, Ashura. Let's hope that does not happen. But yeah, it just, I can't. Thanks so much, Kyle, for the super sticker. Thank you so much. So there you go. Now I'm going to show you what happened between him and Briahna Joy Gray. I always think it's important to give people a little bit of background so they can understand what starts all of this stuff to begin with. This was a thread, went on for a while. I believe this is the beginning of the thread. Man, they went back and forth for a while, dude. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. All right, forward. All right. So this is what started it all. So I showed you that video. I don't know why I can't talk tonight. It's Friday. I know Red Sox are game. I know they got to win. I'm a little nervous about that. All right. So the video that I just played for you, that's this video right here. I'm not going to play it again. I already did that. This is where this all began. So Case Study QB shared this video and said Ritchie Torres calls Biden the most progressive president in history of the U.S. Let me go back. So Briahna Joy Gray, let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. I think that's bigger. Briahna Joy Gray said, I mean, we did get Juneteenth, in a sarcastic way. Richie comes back and says, what about ending a 20-year, $2 trillion forever war? Cutting child poverty by 50%. See, guys, this is the laughable part. When they make these comments, cutting child poverty by 50%, they actually think that's a good thing. They actually think that by saying that, that's a positive, that's a pro. What about the other half? He continues to say, advancing a $5 trillion agenda for America. ARP, BBB, BIF, none of these are sufficiently progressive for you? Question mark. We're going to keep going. He's rolling with it here. So Briahna Joy Gray comes back and says, child poverty shouldn't exist, and having it shouldn't be temporary. Climate provisions are being slashed as the world burns. The minimum wage hasn't been raised since 2009, and the infrastructure bills you're bragging advancing aren't final. But good job on Afghanistan. It continues. Stay with me. So he responds back and goes, in your view, Biden is not progressive for failing to abolish child poverty overnight amid overwhelmingly obstructionism from the filibuster. The Republican Party and the conservative Democrats with veto power. I'm sorry. Does anybody see a little bit of confliction here? He just said the Republican Party and the conservative Democrats. But Democrats aren't supposed to be conservative, right? Right? He goes on. The obstructionists, not Biden, should be blamed for the obstructions. Again, this goes back to that whole blame game thing. This is what Glenn Greenwald talks about, the rotating villain. They always have to point a finger at somebody else. It continues. So Briahna Joy Gray says, you've introduced a straw man to obscure the extent to which you're begging for plaudits from progressives on Twitter for doing your job. My job is to push you to do better. Oh, your job is to log off and fight for what majority of Americans want, even if corporate donors don't agree or disagree. It continues, ladies and gentlemen. I encourage you to run for public office. See, why is that always the answer? Why is that always the answer, ladies and gentlemen? Why is the response always you need to run for office then? And perform all the magic tricks you expect from Biden and others. I have no doubt that you will abolish child poverty and usher in progressive utopia the moment you arrive. Run, Brianna, run. This guy's a tool. It continues, by the way. Briahna Joy Gray says, ending child poverty in the richest country in the history of the world is utopian. Ritchie Torres. That was a quote from him. 45% of children in his district lived in poverty. They deserve a fighter. 45%, you guys. Here are the stats. Poverty, 34.4%. People below the poverty line. More than double the rate in New York, 13%. More than double the rate in the United States, which is 12.3%. This is his district. Children under 18. Look at this, you guys. 45% poverty. That's almost half, man. That's almost half. Going down, seniors 65 and over, 38% poverty. That's his district. And I believe that's where it stopped, at least last I saw. So let me pop out. So, again, I really don't think he came after the right person because obviously Bree was going to come with stats. She was going to come with facts. This is not something to brag about. The fact that half the kids are being lifted out of poverty, that is not a bragging point. And I'm seeing Democrats do it, and I'm seeing progressives do it. I'm seeing people on the squad do it. That's nothing to brag about, bud. Nothing to brag about. And he's doing it as well. He feels the solution is for her to run for office because they always go back to electoral politics. This is how you do things, electoral politics. 45% of children in his district living in poverty. You can help that without electoral politics. You can help that with mutual aid. The Black Panthers didn't rely on electoral politics. You see, they realized a long time ago that people in office were not going to fight for people in their community. And I had a lot to learn when I was growing up because when I was in school, what I was taught about the Black Panthers wasn't even true. They never mentioned that part. They never talked about mutual aid. They didn't talk about how they were feeding and clothing people in their community. They left that out. They said the Black Panthers were a militant group. It's just interesting what you find out when you grow up and you do your own research. So, and that being said, even today, I meet people every other day that still don't know who Fred Hampton is. That's on purpose. So, I just think that Ritchie Torres, to me, I think he is another example of someone that Democrats have pushed forward to convince people that they are fighting for working class people in this country. And see, they're smart about it too, because I mentioned this a while back on my show a couple of times. Democrats realized a long time ago that when it comes to white supremacy, it is easier to have this accomplished when you have someone who is not white do it for you. This is why someone like Ritchie Torres will be praised by the New York Times. He'll be treated like a celebrity. They think that if we see someone who looks like us, who's in office, that they will fight for us. And it worked perfectly with Obama. And I hate to say it, but I fell for it. Wish I could go back in time and vote differently. But I can't change the past, but we can change the future. If you pay close attention, you will notice who are the people coming forward on CNN telling you that Joe Biden's doing a great job. Most of them are people of color. Pramila Jayapal, AOC, Ritchie Torres. That's on purpose. Because see, Joe Biden knows that he is losing support from Black voters. He's also losing support from independents. They know. I'm going to show you those numbers later on when we get into the Biden town hall. They know what's up. So what they do is they get someone who looks like us and they put them in front of the camera and they tell them to do it. And then we think that because they're Black or Latino like us, that they're telling us the truth. Because why would someone from my own community, who's also a minority like me, lie to me about how the people were being helped in this country? Why would they do that? They would never sell me out. Isn't that what we thought about Obama? The point here is that these crumbs are not enough. You were put there to go into Congress and really fight. And from what I saw from those numbers, he's not fighting for people in his community really either. How's the poverty rate still so bad? So him coming after Bree, I think that was a terrible mistake. I don't think that he was thinking when he did that, because like I said, she was going to come back with stats. She was going to come back with data. So for him to tell her to run for office, no, that should not be the answer. The answer should be for him to do better. Let's say that again. The answer should be for him to do better. I don't even think some of the people that are progressive, quote unquote, when they do these interviews with CNN, MSNBC, I don't even think they believe what they're saying half the time. They say what they're told to say. We've seen this multiple times from AOC. Multiple times. So I just want people to understand that telling someone else that they should run is not the answer. I want to be very clear about that. The problem is the system, and the problem is the people that you already have there who said that they were progressive, who said they were going to fight for these issues and fight back against the establishment, who are there and have chosen to do nothing. I just told you the other day, JB from FHL was on here. We were just talking about the whole issue with Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman. Here they are on CNN talking about how they're not invited. And they think that people who watch CNN on a regular are going to say, oh, that looks really bad on Joe Biden. No. They're going to look at them and say that they're the problem. Isn't that how this usually works? When the people who feel like they're being mistreated and they come forward, a lot of times they're the ones that are attacked, not the attacker, not the person who's doing the wrong. Thanks, Delthea Simmons, for the super chat. When a politician calls for someone to run for office, is a call for that person to come be co-opted by the system. Yes, Delthea, thank you so much for saying that. That is exactly true. Because they'll tell you that you should run, and then you get in there, and they want you to do the same thing they're doing. It's all a game. And having a different person go in doesn't make a difference if the system itself is still corrupt. I can say the same thing about police brutality. I've told people this multiple times. It's not that cop or that cop. It's the system that you have that allow those things to continue. It's the fact that police officers have no accountability. The system is the problem. So until you change that system, this will continue to be an issue. I'm going to go to some of the comments in the chat. Leah said progressive balls chopped. Listen, I'm not saying any way, shape, or form that it is easy to be a congressman or congresswoman or a senator. Not saying that at all. But to constantly come on TV and lie. Yes. Plain Breaker said the problem is polls like Torres who have absolutely no principles at all. I mean, I couldn't go back to my community like that, man. How do you go back to your community like that? What do you say? Because see, eventually, if they're in long enough, the community don't even see them anymore. That's what happens when you stay in for a long time. You start making more money. Then you hear people in the community say, we never see so-and-so. We never see Joe Crowley. We never see Elliot Engel. Ilhanner says, what really scares me is how wealthy our billionaires are. Bill Gates alone owns 40% of our food manufacturing. We need real representatives in our government that represent us. And if we keep it up, Bill Gates is going to own a lot more than that because he's buying up a lot of land across this country. These are all good points. All good points. Eric Thomas said Torres wouldn't be allowed to be elected if he had principles. There you go. There you go. This is why people like Cynthia McKinney, when she ran for third party. This is why people like Jill Stein, when she ran third party. Why do you think they tried to hush them up? Why do you think they didn't want people to hear them or speak or hear from them? Why? They don't want a real fighter in there. They don't want someone in there that's really, really going to try to help the people. They want someone in there that's going to say they're going to help the people. And then when they get there, do what the DNC tells them to do. They're going to do what corporations tell them to do. They want you to pretend like you're going to help people. They don't actually want someone there who's going to help people. That wouldn't benefit the donors. I should write a book about this one day. It's just really interesting. Lawrence Johnson says, take our country back. Yeah, we got to do something, you guys. We got to do something. And so again, like I said, when it comes to the poverty issue, that is something that can be helped through mutual aid, not electoral politics. But people have been convinced that these problems will be fixed if they put a different person in office. That's why Ritchie Torres is there. And that's why people in his community, the children in that community, it's still 45% poverty rate. So that's that. I think Bree won that. Let's just be real here. I think Bree won that. But I know a lot of you probably before this never heard of Ritchie Torres. People were asking me earlier today, who's Ritchie Torres? He's one of the ones that can kind of like sit in the background a little bit. And every now and then when they really need, like, let's hear from a young, progressive person of color. Oh, let's bring in Ritchie Torres. We need someone to convince Black people and Latino people. And Ritchie Torres is Afro-Latino, so he's perfect. Let's bring him in. Thanks for the super chat, Chuck. It's time to stop recognizing this government as legitimate and revolt, period. 100%. 100% 4 times. It's fake. None of them are really here to help us. None of them. Delthea Simmons said Bill Gates has decided to be a farmer. He's buying land so he can grow tomatoes and collards. Shout out to Delthea. She's a Sabby member. Let me tell you something, man. When we start to see even more effects of climate change and water is a factor and food is a factor, you know who won't be affected? Someone like Bill Gates. I can't be buying stuff that support his company, man. I can't. It's really sad. Really sad. What's even sadder is our second story. Candace Owens, anti-cop. So Candace Owens is at it again, ladies and gentlemen, probably to no surprise to most of you. I don't know what she's trying to do here, but this is a grift like I've never seen one before. I swear this woman either forgets what she says half of the time or she remembers it and she doesn't care and she just wants to make the money. So check this out. So Ron tweeted this. Candace Owens says we should invade Australia. Here we go. I'm just going to play the video. This is so sick. It makes me sick to my stomach. Let me mute my mic.
Tyrannical police state. Its citizens are quite alike. When do we deploy troops to Australia? When do we invade Australia and free and oppress people who are suffering under a totalitarian regime? When do we spend trillions of dollars to spread democracy in Australia? Australia currently, make no mistake, is a tyrannical police state. Its citizens are quite literally being imprisoned against their will. So when do we deploy? When do we deploy troops to Australia? When do we invade Australia and free and oppress people who are suffering under a totalitarian regime? When do we spend trillions of dollars to spread democracy in Australia? Australia currently, make no mistake, is a tyrannical police state. Its citizens are quite literally being imprisoned against their will. So when do we deploy?
You know what's fun? You know what's funny about that speech? She says that people in Australia are being imprisoned against their will. It's a police state. Since when was she against that? Since when was she like against, against the police state? People are being imprisoned against their will here in the United States. We have a police state here in the United States, and Candace Owens supported that police state. When we were saying defund the police, when we were saying abolish the police, Candace Owens supported funding the police more. Candace Owens came out in support of the police against George Floyd. Where was that same empathy for George Floyd from Candace Owens? Where was it? So she can have that same empathy for people in Australia, but she can't have that same empathy for people right here in the United States. Help me figure this out. Somebody tell me, am I missing something here? The other part of this that's really a problem, she's saying we need to invade Australia. No, no, no. Keep the United States government out of other countries' affairs. Stop telling the US government to go invade another freaking country. We should not be policing the world. I'm so sick of this, you guys. Every time the United States get involved in another country's conflict, we ruin it for the people who are still left there. Every time. Look at what we did to Haiti. Look at what we did to Libya. You want us to go to Australia now? Really? What kind of warmongering BS is this? Where's that same empathy, Candace, for Americans here in the police state right here in America? Where's that same empathy? None. I show you guys these things, not because I think that you will believe the things that Candace Owens is saying. I show you this because I want to show you how oftentimes she'll go back on her word. Now, how you go from, we need to give the police more funding, we need to back the blue, to, we need to go invade this country and help the people there and free them from the police state. But we shouldn't do that for people right here in America. When cops go into Black neighborhoods and harass Black people for no reason, should the U.S. invade then? Candace Owens would say no. Candace Owens would say those things don't really happen. What you guys have to understand, and we were talking about this recently, actually at the roundtable the other day on FHL. There are some people who are doing this just for the money only. They're not really trying to spread a message. And you can tell that by the fact that their message continues to change. Candace Owens, the same person that said racism isn't a thing, sued her Connecticut school board for racism. She was awarded $37,000. She's been doing this for a long time. You got to understand. There is more money on the right than there is on the left. That's why you see some of these left hosts who seemed very left when Bernie was running, starting to move further and further to the center, actually more to the right. They're the ones making excuses for Joe Biden when they were completely bashing him the whole time during the campaign. I'm not going to mention any names, but you know what I'm talking about. They're the ones still making excuses for the squad. Because that's where the money is. But there's even more on the right, especially if you're Black. If you're a Black conservative and you're doing independent media, there's way more money over there. You have to pay attention. But I don't think we should be trying to invade another country. I think we need to leave people alone. We do not deserve the right to put our footprint in every country across this world. And we're constantly trying to do it. How many times is the US military going to invade other countries and try to tell the people there how they should and should not live? How many times is this going to happen? And make no mistake, most of the time when the US gets involved and does these things, there's resources involved. That's why we're there. There's resources in Afghanistan. That's why we're there. Not because of the women and the children. That is the lie that CNN and MSNBC would tell you. It's for the women and the children. Do you see them go that hard to save the women and the children in this country? No, you don't. It's not because of the women and the children. The U.S. involvement in Afghanistan actually has made life worse for women in Afghanistan. If they care so much about the women and the children, then why do they go over there and kill innocent women and children? Somebody help me understand this. And yet nobody will point this out in mainstream media because they're all bought and paid for. All of them. You say what the network tells you to say. That's why some people will leave mainstream media and go independent. And even some of the ones that are independent are really independent, TYT. So the fact that she is pushing that nonsense that we need to invade another country is not okay. And I don't care if you're on the right, the left, the middle, if you're up in the clouds, we should not be okay with that. I think we need to figure out how to dismantle the police state that we have in this country. We can't control the police we have here. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't hear about or read about another police brutality incident. Not one day. Most of them you don't even see on mainstream media. I told you guys, most of them are not covered on mainstream media. It's absolutely ridiculous. Turncoat Dan, Sabby, you actually believe Candace Owens wants to invade Australia? I think that Candace Owens is saying what's going to get her views and is going to get her clicks and is going to give her more money. The problem is the message that she is preaching to people. There are people who are going to watch that and believe it. And they're going to think, yeah, she's right. We should do that. That's the problem. When people come out and they spew lies and they encourage imperialism and they encourage invasion, when they encourage those things, that is very dangerous rhetoric. And people will believe it and people will follow it. That's the problem. We have no business there. We can't control our own damn country. We can't fix problems we have right here in the United States. We're going to go tell people in Australia what to do. We can't even give everybody health care in this country. 2021. How the hell we not figured that out yet? But we want to tell everybody else what to do. That is the problem. And I'm not yelling at you, Turncoat Dan. I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated. It bothers me. It's a problem. And it's always these things where, like, again, it starts off as like this, we are going there to help the people there. But like I said, majority of the time when that happens, there are resources there that we want. We completely destroyed Haiti. And then we want to push them away when they come here, when they're trying to come here. We destroyed that country. Arturo said, hella people are frustrated. Yeah, it angers me so much because so many people believe it. They believe it. It just, listen, guys, like the way I look up things, the way I research things, and a lot of us, some of you in the chat, I know you do this too. The majority of Americans don't. What they see, what they watch, they just take that for word and they believe it. It's a problem. It's a big problem in this country. Thanks so much, Justin, for the super chat. Please look into the Liberation Party. In VA, we have a gubernatorial candidate running under LP, Princess Blanding, princessblanding.com. Yeah, she was on here, Justin. I interviewed her. I want to say that was like maybe a week and a half ago. So yeah, she was on here and she talked about it. But thanks so much for the super chat. Yeah, Princess was a real one, man. Was a real one. Going to some of the comments in the chat. Sorry, guys, my voice has been, sometimes I get excited, like I yell and my voice starts to get a little cracky. Crackly, I should say, not cracky. Could be taken the wrong way. Yeah, you should, Arturo. She was on here. She's a third-party candidate running for governor in Virginia. And they wouldn't let her debate. That's actually how I found out about her. There was a video about her on Twitter that went viral because they wouldn't let her debate. And she met the qualifications and everything. And she showed up there. So, Impossibly Black said, MSM didn't let a day go by without reminding us of examples of police brutality last year. I guess this year we're supposed to believe everything is better now that Biden is in office. Bingo. And that's what they want us to believe. That's exactly what they want us to think. Notice you don't hear much about it now. It still happens. You got to look for it, though. You got to dig. People should start using DuckDuckGo. Because there are some things even Google don't really want us to see when it's not in their favor at that time. So, Turncoat Dan said, I don't care if Candace is looking for clicks. When she's correct, we can't take the opposition for the fuck of it. I don't think it's correct to invade another country. I'm 100% against that. I want to be very clear here. I do not think we should get involved in other countries' conflicts. We screw it up every damn time. People in Libya are worse off because of us. People in Afghanistan are worse off because of us. People in Haiti are worse off because of us. The list goes on and on. I do not agree with that. We should not be invading other countries. We come in, we screw things up. I'm trying to be careful with my language here. We screw things up, and it makes it worse for the people who are still there. The people who are still in those countries, they are worse off after we intervene than they are before we even got involved. It's a problem. We are not the world's police. I want to be very clear about that. We are not the world's police. We can't even protect ourselves. We can't even fix things in this country. So what I want you to understand is when they go there, it is not to protect and save the people. There is always a resource or something else connected. We robbed Haiti. You guys hear me? Like, we robbed Haiti. And when I see them come to the border and I see Biden sends in the border patrol and Governor Abbott sends in the border patrol and they're like, go home, push them back. Why would someone go through all of that to get here? They would go through all of that to get here because there's nothing left at home. Phenomenal Mysticism says Candace Owens is just a hypocrite. She supports the oppression of U.S. residents. That's a good point, Phenomenal Mysticism. She want to go lift up people in Australia, but as soon as you talk about lifting up Black people in the United States, she's against it. Every time. We have to lift ourselves up. Isn't that what she says? Every time someone brings up reparations, every time someone brings up, we got to talk about the racial wealth gap in this country. Candace Owens' response to Black people is you have to lift up yourself. But you want us to go lift up people in another country. But we can't lift up people here? Get out of here. I can't with that woman. I can't. Shout out to Arthur for the super chat. Name one country that was made better after the U.S. intervened. I'll wait. That's a good point. There's a lot that goes into this, you guys. I mean, I know about some of this stuff because, like I told you guys before, I grew up in a military family. That is why I'm anti-war. I've seen the effects of war on people. There's always, we don't really do, the United States government, we don't do things to just help other countries. There's always something in it for us. Corona. Sabby, can you announce that to me? Jacob Steffi proposed to Marion Janine. I don't know who that is. Can you announce that to me, Jacob? I don't know. I don't know what's happening, Corona. So that's my take on that. I just can't. And I've lived in other countries. And I'm just telling you, let's not allow ourselves to believe what CNN and them are telling us when it comes to U.S. intervention. Because you think Don Lemon is going to get on CNN and say, well, the United States is intervening in Afghanistan because there's opium there, or there's poppy there. While we're there, we're going to help out the people too. You think they're going to tell us that? No. Got to go to the Biden town hall. So, I don't know if you saw this last night. If you did not see it, you're probably better off. I'm just going to be honest. Just going to be honest with you. Let me share my screen. Before I show you the clip from the town hall, I want to show you an article from The Hill that talks about the town hall, but it also shows his poll numbers. I believe it was a couple weeks ago, either at the end of September or the very beginning of October, where I told you guys that Biden's poll numbers between independents had dropped significantly. It was like a 10% drop. Well, it has dropped more. So I'm going to share my screen. And I told you guys this would be problematic because it was independents who helped him win in Arizona. Here we go. Biden's safe space CNN town hall attracts small audience as poll numbers plummet. The numbers are hitting the floor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to read this entire article. There are certain things here I want to highlight. President Biden turned to CNN to perform a town hall on Thursday night, marking the second time the White House has chosen the network in the past 3 months in this kind of format. The ratings were horrific, even by Biden's standards. Listen to this. According to early numbers from the Nielsen Media Research, the Biden town hall from Baltimore, which was moderated by Anderson Cooper, delivered just 1.2 million viewers from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. In the younger demographic, 25 to 54-year-olds, that advertisers covet most, the commander-in-chief commanded a paltry 271,000 viewers. I'm sorry. It's kind of funny. Anyway, going on. For context, in the cable news race, an average of 2.83 million viewers watched Fox News Tucker Carlson at 8 p.m. and first half Sean Hannity at 9 p.m. That's more than 1.6 million viewers. Meanwhile, MSNBC Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow attracted an average of 1.39 million viewers in second place. For even more context, Biden drew 3.4 million viewers during his first town hall. That was the first one that he had in February. 3.4 million. Thursday's night audience marking more than a 60% drop. For more context, the last town hall Donald Trump did with CNN occurred when he wasn't even the Republican nominee in March 2016. First-time candidate captured 3.26 million viewers. Here we go. The drop in interest in what the president has to say on important issues and policy can't be underscored enough. There's so much at stake, particularly as it pertains to Biden's massive Build Back Better plan, which would add at least $2 trillion in spending to an economy that is suffering the highest core inflation the country has seen in 30 years. Here come the poll numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Here we have Biden in a free fall, with Quinnipiac's latest polling putting him at 28% approval rating among independents. I believe when I did the video a couple weeks ago, I believe it was in the 30s with independents. Might have been 37%. I have to double check. But it's now at 28% and a 37% approval overall. He's now at a 37% approval rating overall. Now, I'm going to pop out. I just want to reiterate, and I know I've said this multiple times in the show, the Biden administration is in trouble. Come 2024. They're in trouble right now, but come 2024, they're in trouble. His approval rating continues to drop each month. And I believe I said this last month, I expected it to continue to drop. And that's what's happening right now. That is really low. That's low. Little Rock Elevator said Trump approval was higher than that. I think so. I have that chart somewhere that showed like all of Trump's like approval ratings like throughout his presidency term. I'll have to look for that. Ashura said, Sabby Sabs, but Sabby, we know the midterms are always a flip and that people only come out during general elections. I like that, Ashura. I like that. So that's one thing. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And now I'm going to show you the disaster that was that town hall last night. Now, apparently, I'm not sure what was happening here. I really don't know. But it is very evident to me, and I've mentioned this on the show before, Joe Biden is in trouble. Now, this is from QC News. During CNN's town hall, President Joe Biden awkwardly stood in place as if he had a podium in front of him. So I don't even need to play this video because I don't think Anderson Cooper says everything. Well, I could play it. Let me see. Let me mute myself.
Near-term inflation. The Wall Street Journal recently talked to like 67 financial experts who said that they saw high inflation going all the way or deep into 2022. About that, with just in terms of inflation, because you had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that this was just near-term inflation. The Wall Street Journal recently talked to like 67 financial experts who said that they saw high inflation going all the way or deep into 2022.
So I'm not going to play it again, but what I was trying to draw your attention to is this. So I'm not sure what's happening here, but this did happen last night. I don't know why Joe Biden is standing like that. Like he has his hands out as if, well, like QZ News said, like as if he's standing at a podium, but there's no podium there. So that in itself is concerning. Carr said full-blown dementia. I don't know. I don't know. But it's weird. And he's still like that for a while. Like this wasn't like, he didn't do this for like 2 seconds. So that is very strange. Very strange. Colin said weekend at Brandon's. Oh, guys, I finally realized what Let's Go Brandon means. So I'm really excited about that. I know I'm late. I'm always late to this kind of stuff. But now I know what people mean when they say let's go Brandon. So I feel good. But yeah, that was one of the things that happened. And that was very concerning to me. It was just, obviously, it seems like he didn't understand where he was. I don't know, man. There's more that I'm going to show you. So Benny actually made a collaboration of the mistakes he made last night. And I'm glad he made this video because honestly, I was going through all the video footage and I was like, oh my God, like there was so much. It was just such a mess. I was like, how am I going to cut and trim this for people for tonight? And I just didn't have time. But then I saw this guy and he just kind of compiled them all together. And I was like, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you. Here's Biden's mess ups from last night. These are some of them. Let me go ahead and mute my mic so I don't have an echo.
Providing professional education, don't pay a cent. Not a single little red cent. Let's go through Los Angeles and what am I doing here?
Is it Long Beach?
Long Beach, thank you.
You had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that this was just near-term inflation. The Wall Street Journal recently talked.
And the child who didn't. A gigantic disadvantage.
Mr. President, the question was on on community college.
No, you know, look, I was a senator for 370 years. So when a drug deal was going down, she'd pick up the phone and call and say to the police officer with a cell phone that the drug deal is going down, knowing that she would never be fingered, knowing that she would never be the one told it happened. And so crime began to drop. They had to know who the local liquor store. They had to know and walk in and shake hands with the local minister. They had to know that's providing professional education. Don't pay a cent. Not a single little red cent.
All right, I'm going to comment in between some of these. I don't know what the hand gesture was all about there. I'm a little bit confused. So that was kind of weird. Let me go to the next line. The first part, I will say, I do know that Joe Biden does have an issue with, or he had a problem with stuttering. So I'm not gonna, you know, get at him for that. But I don't know what's going on here with this whole thing with the eyes. That like the OK symbol. Like what is happening here? So that was a little bit weird. Let's see. Let's go more into this.
Let's go through Los Angeles and what am I doing here?
Yo, he just seriously was like, what am I doing here? He doesn't know why he's there. This is a problem. This is embarrassing. Like also, this is on the world stage. This is on CNN. He doesn't even know why he's there. Didn't I tell you guys? I told you guys this before. I don't think Joe Biden knows where he is half the time. This just proves my point. And he said it on national television. All right, let's go to more.
Is it Long Beach?
Long Beach. Thank you.
You had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that this was just near-term inflation. The Wall Street Journal recently talked.
And the child who did it. A gigantic disadvantage.
Mr. President, the question was on on community college.
No, you know.
Okay, you see, Anderson Cooper is trying to save him because Anderson Cooper's like the question was about community college, so he's trying to step in and help Joe Biden out because even he can see. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, something's not right here. I'm gonna have to come in and help him out. So this is a problem. This is a problem. Let's go back in.
Oh, look, I was a senator for 370 years. So when a drug deal was going down, she'd pick up the phone and call and say to that police officer with a cell phone that the drug deal is going down, knowing that she would never be fingered, knowing that she would never be the one told it happened. And so crime began to drop. They had to know who the local liquor store. They had to know and walk in and shake hands with the local minister. They had to know that's providing professional education.
I'm not even going to say anything about the fingered part. I'm just going to let you guys use your imagination with that. I'm not going to go there. But this is a problem. Guys, if you actually Google it, like people have already made memes about this, man. I saw a Beavis and Butthead meme about it earlier this morning. I think that was the first thing I saw on Twitter when I woke up. So I don't understand how Democrats can make excuses for this, man. This is a problem. And I've said this before, like, I felt like they were trying to hide Joe Biden. You know, it's like you don't see him as much as, well, we definitely don't see him as much as we saw Trump. I saw Trump every day. We don't need to see him that much, but I'm just saying, like, it's bad. And this is the president. This is who's supposed to be running the country. So, what does that mean? Come 2024, it could mean that they may try to push Kamala and Booty. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. Kamala and Pete Buttigieg. I like to give shorten things sometimes, but let me be clear here. I didn't mean that kind of booty. But they could try to run those two. I think Kamala would do worse than Biden did. A lot of people do not like Kamala, myself included. She's terrible. And you notice you don't really see her that much in the what? Karora, Sabby, I wanted you to propose for me. Oh, are you trying to propose to someone like right now live? Oh man, I messed that up big time. Can you put it back in the chat? I'm so sorry. Now I get it. I totally misunderstood. If you put it back in, iCarora, I can do it. Oh man, my bad. Impossibly Black said Biden is a lizard person confirmed. Oof. Oh man, like that is really bad, you guys. And like honestly, if you try to sit down and watch the entire town hall, it's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to do. You're welcome to do so though. But I figured I'd go through the pain for you. Just give you some clips. Figured that's what I do. Cause I just, ugh. Robert Hutchins said, damn this autocorrect. I was trying to say that Joe Biden grew up with his daughter. He has mostly overcome that stutter except for an occasional time. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Whatever man said, shorten it to boot. Okay. I guess I could just shorten it to boot. But I don't think Joe Biden's going to be either running in 2024 if this continues. Because what's going to happen when I don't know who the Republican challenger is going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump came back. Who knows? He's unpredictable. But what is going to happen come 2024 when it's time to debate again? And we're already seeing how Joe Biden's doing right now. That's still yeah, not fully 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. That's still 3 years away. It kind of makes me wonder, what did they give him when he had that one-on-one debate with Bernie? Because he was very sharp in that one. He didn't have any of these issues. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Shout out to D Nord for the super sticker. Or I think it's super chat. Super sticker. Chat. Greg says cop and boot will be dangerously authoritarian. Did you just nickname Kamala and Pete Buttigieg cot and boot? Oh my God. That one's gonna stick. That one's gonna stick, guys. We got new nicknames, cop and boot. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. Let me push this back. That's gonna stick with me now. That's gonna be stuck with me. But yeah. So that performance at that town hall was troublesome. I don't even know what Anderson Cooper was thinking. He's probably just like, oh man, how am I get out of this? What am I going to do? I don't know. I don't know. Guys, you know, I like to talk about direct action a lot. I got to tell you about an event that's coming up. This is coming up on Tuesday. Let me share my screen. If you are in the New York area and you can attend, I encourage you to do so. All right, guys, there is a protest that is coming up Tuesday in New York City, October 26th at 12 p.m. There's a number here for more info. KRTD Media President Shane Coughlin will be leading a protest outside the New York Netflix headquarters in response to the smear movie they are releasing of Julian Assange. There will be in-person speakers and recorded statements. This is happening at 245 West 17th Street in New York, October 26, 2021 at 12 p.m. For more information, call 929-340-7079. For those of you who do not know, this documentary is coming out. It is a smear campaign. It is happening on Netflix. So they are going to protest at Netflix about this being released. It is really important that we let people know the truth and that people are not going to buy into what they see on Netflix. And let's be real. I've seen a lot of documentaries on Netflix and a lot of people do buy into it and don't do their own research. And it would be a shame for people to do the same thing with Julian Assange. It would be a huge shame. So for those of you that can attend, please go check that out. Heavily important. I like to shout out direct action that's going on here. I think that it's very important. We got to do this, you guys. We got to do it. So if you can go there, please go there. One more direct action that is coming up as well. There's a protest happening in Boston. For those of you who are in New England, it is for Medicare for all. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. I guess you guys, if you're new to my channel, some of you might be like, man, we never see this kind of stuff happen on like the bigger channels. Yeah, you never see them say, let me go ahead and pull up this article. They got people that can do that for them. All right. Yes. So this is also happening this week. See, there's a lot of direct action going on this week. I got to tell you guys. Medicare for all, protest. Yeah. There is also a hearing happening in Massachusetts about Medicare for all. I want to give you a tidbit about that. This is really important. For those of you who do not know, there is a Medicare for all bill in the House in Massachusetts. And there is one person, Cynthia Friedman, who has been holding that up. She won't allow them to vote on the bill. So there have been like protests throughout the past couple of months to get them to bring that bill to the floor for a vote. Eric Thomas has it here. Protests for Medicare for all in Massachusetts, Tuesday, October 26th. So that's 2 direct actions happening October 26th. It's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it's on Facebook. I will be sure to put this in the details tab of my video. I'll put the link and all that stuff in the comment section. So if you go in there, you can just click on it. I would be there if I could. Unfortunately, I have to go to the Jabo. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this is not my full-time gig. I still have to work. So I will be there in spirit. But there is also a hearing that's happening as well. And you can do that virtually. So 2 direct action events that you can get involved in if you can and if you have the time. I definitely recommend that you check those out, you guys. I love to promote direct action on here. And a couple announcements before I head out. Some of you may know this, some of you may not know. I was recently on RT on a show called Crosstalk. Great experience, a lot of fun, super excited. I'm really happy that they chose me. So I actually got permission from them to share that video on my channel. So that will upload tomorrow. So you'll be able to see that video on here as well as on RT. So definitely check it out. The discussion was the justice system. And we know I have a lot to say about that. And we talked about the red versus blue game as well. And so it was great to be on a panel with people who don't necessarily share the same political ideology that I do. But the fact that we were able to just come together and talk about these issues and not fight with each other and argue over each other or dismiss each other because we have different political ideologies. That was a great experience. I encourage you guys to do that as well. Let's not exclude people or choose not to talk to people just because they don't share the same political beliefs that we do. Always, if you have that opportunity, have that conversation with them. They can choose whether to accept it or hear you or not, but at least you can say you tried, right? All right. So yes, definitely. I will share that tomorrow. And that is pretty much it for me. I have to go check out this Red Sox game. Don't tell me the score. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Because this is kind of do or die for us. I don't want to know. If you like what you saw, guys, and you're new, you want to support my work, you can do so on patreon.com. The link is at the bottom of the screen, patreon.com/Sabrina Salvati. You can support me there. You can support me here by becoming a member, by joining my channel. So shout out to everyone who is a Patreon. I forget to do that sometimes. And there's different tiers that you can pick and you can choose from, and you get different little perks and goodies and stuff with that. You'll get a Sabby Sabs mug. I don't have my mug here with me. I don't know where it went. I got to find it. But you can get a Sabby Sabs mug with one of them. One is a t-shirt, one is a sticker, all that different kind of stuff that you can choose from. But Those are ways that you can support my work. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me and kicking it with me on Friday. I told you on Fridays I cut a little loose because it's been a long week. But I'm gonna go check out this Red Sox game. Pray for me. And as always, you know how we do this. Have a good night. Keep up the fight.